When we talk about our favorite RPG, what comes to mind? Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and even Persona. But what about Nintendo? Nintendo's approach to the genre is very different, but very unique. In today's video, we are going to be exploring amazing JRPGs that came from Nintendo themselves. Now, if you guys don't know, I did a previous one for Square Enix, so check it out if you haven't. But before we start, please leave a like button. If you like the video so far, I would appreciate it. And if you like my channel, I'd love to see more, then please consider subscribing. Alrighty, now let's get onto the list. The first one on the list is Paper Mario. Well, most specifically, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. It's my favorite. But the Paper Mario series overall is a great JRPG. Paper Mario games, especially The Thousand Year Door, is a testament to Nintendo's knack for combining charm, humor, and solid gameplay in one cohesive package, with shockingly deep mechanics wrapped in the Nintendo signature charm. But the inclusion of time button pressing, partner swapping, badge customization, and audience interaction, which makes it a very fun gameplay. And honestly, it's one of the more engaging combats in JRPG history. I mean, not for the most recent Paper Mario games, but the older ones definitely have that engaging feeling. But perhaps one of the best things that Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door has is its story. It's not grand or anything like that. You're not going to be shocked or anything, but the story is very, very fun. The game really does a good job balancing out the laugh out loud humor with surprisingly dark moments. And each world in this game is very cool and personalized with their own themes and gimmicks to them. And I really don't see other JRPGs doing these worlds or scenarios quite like Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. And I can't get enough of Luigi in this game. He is so funny. Whoever wrote Luigi needs a raise. Well, the game came out years ago, but oh my god, I love Luigi so much in this game. And of course, there is the paper-like aesthetic to it. Paper Mario has a very timeless aesthetic when it comes to their graphics. I love the paper mache kind of stuff, and even the worlds come to life in a paper form. And with the new remake that came out, it looks even better. But the older one still looks really good. And it's just a testament on how an art style could really date a game. And I love how Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door never takes itself too seriously. It's very aware of its comedic nature. And if I could describe Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, it would be pure RPG distilled fun. It is all the fun stuff you want in an RPG without all the other stuff. Next pick is Fire Emblem Awakening. This was personally my first entry to the Fire Emblem series, and from that point on, I never looked back. I played all the games so far, and I love the series so much. It wasn't just another entry in a long-running strategy RPG series, it was a revival. If you guys don't know, the franchise was on the verge of being shelved for good, but with Awakening and how it performed, it gave the series another breath of life, which ironically goes well with the name, Fire Emblem Awakening. So instead of quietly fading away like they expected it to, Awakening grew and soared in the sales and chart. And it got people like me who weren't really into the strategy RPG genre at the time really invested. Like, I remember going into GameStop, finding this game, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll get it. Like, I'm bored, I want to play something. And then I popped it in and my mind was blown. Always try new games, folks. You never know which game will really resonate with you. So it was clear that Awakening was something special, and it brought Fire Emblem as a series to a broader audience without sacrificing the core tactical gameplay that fans love. And it also included gorgeous visuals, which might not be as gorgeous nowadays, but back then they were pretty cool. And more importantly, the characters. I love the characters in Fire Emblem Awakening. They are so iconic to this day. My favorite character is Lucina. She is my main in Smash Bros, though I don't play Smash Bros, I'm not good at it. But yeah, Lucina is my favorite character in all of gaming, really. I mean, she's right there in my amiibo shelf. She's front and center. And there was also the mechanic where you could pair off different characters to make a baby for the future. Yeah, that was pretty fun. But not only were relationships important for the characters, they were also important for the gameplay. And might I add, there's a lot of characters. And then add in the whole second generation characters. It's really, really fun. And of course, the gameplay is top tier when it comes to strategy JRPG. JRPGs. In short, Fire Emblem Awakening is a love letter to the series' past while also serving as a bold step forward. And for better or for worse, depending on who you ask, every game past Awakening has taken a lot of the mechanics from Awakening, and it really ensured that Fire Emblem would continue to be a staple in Nintendo's lineup for years to come. Alrighty, so the next game is Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Now, I know that Xenoblade Chronicles X just released for the Switch, which I am loving, but Xenoblade Chronicles is one of my favorite in the series, and it's a flagship JRPG series that really started the franchise. Monolith Soft are the people who developed the game, but it's basically published by Nintendo, so I thought it was a good game to put here. And thank God the game came to the West. We would have never known how peak this game is. What immediately sets Xenoblade Chronicles apart is the sense of scale. One thing that amazes me about Monolith Soft games, especially the Xenoblade Chronicle games, is that it actually runs properly on the Switch. Like, how do they even do that? They make this big open world where there's little to no frame rate drops, and it's just very seamless and fun. But then you look at the Switch and you're like, how the heck is this game running on the Switch? That's probably a secret that we will never know. Now, I do want to add that the first release of the game looked really ugly. Well, the characters looked really ugly. Everything else looked fine, but the characters were really oof. But with the definitive edition, it just looks so much better. And another thing, you can play the whole Xenoblade Chronicles series on the Switch. But back to the first Xenoblade Chronicles, the areas are brimmed with detail and life, day-night cycles, and the sheer amount of places you could explore. I'm not gonna go into the whole story about Xenoblade Chronicles, it's pretty big, but essentially you are Homs, which are basically humans living on a Titan, and your enemy is on another Titan right in front of you, and they're machines, so there's conflict there. And then adventure, there's a lot of things that get revealed. Don't really have time to explain it, but it's a very good story, and one that's really captured me to this day. And your protagonist, Shulk, is a very young and inquisitive person who happens to wield the Monado, which is the iconic sword that we see in a lot of the promotional materials, and it's one of those rare JRPGs that are actually sci-fi instead of fantasy, so that's pretty intriguing. Now, the gameplay is a bit weird, especially if it's your first time playing, and once you get the hang of it, it's really fun. And there's also your party members, which basically have their own roles, from your takey dumb bands to your ether-based users like Melia. Xenoblade Chronicles is a very epic game in every sense of the word. It is a landmark JRPG, and I'm glad I gave the Xenoblade Chronicles series a try. Alrighty, let's take it back a few years, because my next pick is Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and in my opinion, the pinnacle of Pokemon games. They reached the peak, but has yet to really reach it again. But I will say, the Pokemon games were never always bad. There's actually really good ones, and Heart Gold and Soul Silver happens to be one of my favorites. I'm in this weird situationship when it comes to Pokemon, where I love the series a lot, but they make a lot of mistakes in the more recent games, and I don't know why. I don't know how. They're the richest developers on the planet, and their games run like doo-doo. But it wasn't always like that. Heart Gold and Soul Silver has to be one of the best in the series, not just by my account, but a lot of people's account. Now, technically, Pokemon games are not made directly by Nintendo, but most of their games are exclusive to Nintendo, and Nintendo does have a hand in producing them. One thing to note is that Heart Gold and Soul Silver are not the original games. They're actually the remakes of Gold and Silver, hence the name Heart Gold, Soul Silver. And while it was a remaster, it was still faithful to the original with not being too faithful to the original. Brilliant Diamond, I'm looking at you. But what makes Heart Gold and Soul Silver really stand out is the sheer amount of content that was included. You're not just getting the Johto adventure, because you could actually travel and do the Kanto adventure too. So you could do basically 2 adventures into one game. While not groundbreaking, Heart Gold and Soul Silver were the first ones to really introduce Pokemon following, which was pretty revolutionary at its day. I mean, having a game that actually works is pretty revolutionary nowadays, so Okay, I'll stop the passive aggressiveness. I'm sorry. But before I blow my lid off and go on a gigantic rant that I'm probably going to edit out, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver is my favorite for a reason, and it's just a very fun Pokemon game. Now, going along with the themes of classic, impactful JRPGs, the next one is pretty big, and that is for Earthbound. Earthbound was one of those games where you just had to be there kind of vibe. I wasn't there. I actually played it on my 3DS a few years ago, but it was really good. And I can see why a lot of people in the JRPG community love Earthbound. It has achieved cult classicness with many of its fans. And there is a lot of iconography that are in other JRPGs that are taken straight from Earthbound. And it has to be one of the least JRPG-ness game in the JRPG genre, mostly due to the setting of the game and the type of vibe it's going for. And let me emphasize, at its time with Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest ruling the genre, Earthbound dared to be different, presenting players with a more modern day setting filled with shopping malls, suburbs, and quirky townsfolk. The game is filled with humor, heart, and a distinct sense of weirdness, and to this day it's still one of the more unique JRPGs out there. But beneath its very quirky exterior lies a tale that is darker than it might seem. The game touches on themes of isolation, fear that feels charmingly bizarre, and you really get the feeling that this game is a labor of love, mostly because it doesn't follow any of the traditional norms of the genre. So they weren't really making it to be a success, quote unquote, because every game is made for some kind of success. But I don't think it was made to combat Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. It was just made because the creator thought it was a really cool game. And although it didn't achieve commercial success, especially in the initial releases, it slowly became a very iconic game and a cult classic. It is proof that a creative project can resonate with a lot of people, even if it takes a little bit more years to actually notice it. And although I'm skeptical that we're ever gonna get a remake, remaster, or Mother 3, I do hold a little bit of hope that we might get something in the series for the Nintendo Switch and onwards. Alright, so that's it for the video. I do hope Nintendo continues to make bigger and better JRPGs. I know their cup of tea is platformers and stuff, but when they do tackle JRPGs, they really do it good. Please tell me in the comments down below, what are your favorite Nintendo JRPGs? If you like this video, then please hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And if you like my channel and would love to see more, then please hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate that as well. So without further ado, I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of the day, and as always, play a good game. Peace.